and welcome to First Days with Johanna, this second first day of 2023. I still find it weird to say and write 2023, but yeah, I think I will get accustomed during the year, hopefully. Otherwise, that's the way it is in the beginning of the year, right? So today we will be here in my office since it's still a hot mess out in my studio. So we're camping out here in my office instead. We will be talking a lot about future knits because I don't have that much on my needles at the moment. I have 2 finished things already and a lot of future knits. So let's dive into the episode. I finished 2 things and I have only 1 thing here to show you, and that is, surprise, surprise, another hat. So this is the last, hopefully, of my Don't Freeze hats. This is knit out of SKeW number 3, held together with SKeW Fluff, which is a mohair. And this version I rounded off the top a little bit more, so it won't be that pointy. And it still got this long cuff, or whatever you call it on a hat, that you can brim, a long brim on the hat, so you can fold it up and get it double over your ears, and it's a little bit fluffy on the top. This is still wet because I tried to wash it yesterday and let it dry overnight, but it hasn't. So it will need to go lay down flat to dry off the last part. So I won't try it on in this time of the year, or this time, it's rambly today, isn't it? Okay. I won't try this on because it's wet, but this is how it will look, except for the absolute top part. So I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those hats now, and I think that I've perfected the pattern. So that pattern will be released very soon, and you will get all the updates if you follow along here. Now, I have 1 more pattern that I have 2 more patterns that I'm working on actively at the moment, because we have the test knit of the shawl that I announced in last episode. That is going on, and that is coming out sometime February, March. And then I have the second pattern that I'm working on, and that is also my second finished project. And it's also the second version of this project. So this is a very big cowl. And this is the first version, and I haven't finished weaving in the ends because there was a lot of ends on this one, because I used different colors for almost all the rows. But it's a big cowl that sits on your shoulder and keep you warm all the way around. And I wanted to make one exactly like this, or the pattern like this, for my daughter. So that's my second finished project this year. And since I already made all the math for making a smaller version, I figured I will include that and a child size in the pattern. So you get 3 sizes in that pattern. You get toddler, child, and adult, or teen adult, because I think you can use it either way. And that pattern is coming out next week. So I've finished all the knitting. I have a little bit of math still to do on the child version, and then it will be coming out to you next week. So keep your eyes peeled either on this channel or on my social media. You can find all the links to social media down below, and There you can also find a link to my Ravelry shop if you want to shop any other my other patterns. Now, that was the 2 things that I finished. I darned some socks too, because it's sock season, and that is what I do then, apparently. And because we wear a lot of socks in this house, and they won't last that long, that I really like them to do. But yeah, when once darned, they last a little bit longer. Now, a sip of tea, and then I will show you what I'm actively working on. This is still my handmade ceramic mug from Lina, and I'm drinking a tea from the tea shop in the local town, and the tea is called Sir James. It's reminiscence of Earl Grey, but it's not really that sharp, so I really like this tea for in the mornings. Okay, I'm actively working on one thing. I don't know what happened, but that is the way it is. I'm working on one thing, and that is a sock snake that I made on my circular sock machine. I put in 1 cuff, and I'm working on the second cuff. And I've shown this process before in an episode, and I can link that episode so you can find it if you want. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold this one and pick up all the stitches around, and then snip 1 stitch and unravel, so I will get 2 socks. Then I'm gonna knit the toes, and then we'll measure out where my heel is supposed to go and do an afterthought heel. And then I will have a pair of socks. So this speeds up my sock knitting process a lot by having this tube. A pair of socks can take a long time if I'm not actively working on them, and since we're wearing a lot of socks, I'm in desperate need of a few pairs. So this is getting some attention at the moment, and actually I had a little bit of trouble to find a good contrast, because I wanted to match this purple here, and I found my opal purple, and you will see that soon. But when I held the purple against this, that purple was far too red. So this purple, it's much nearer to navy blue, because when I dig out what I really thought was more of a blue, it matched perfectly with this purple, but that was a sport yarn, so I couldn't use it. But then I found this light purple or pinkish purple yarn that gives enough contrast to be interesting to this sock. So that's what I'm making cuff, heels and toes in. And it's really old stash, because I'm apparently going through that at the moment. It's really old opal yarn, and I think that this self-striping is either a regia or opal yarn, and it's also very old stash. I made a second sock snake in the same yarn that I'm hoping I can turn into a pair of socks for my husband. But it's still on my sock machine, so I can't show it to you, because I need to make 1 more so I can get that off. It's a little bit of a process, just so I don't have to cast on every time I want to knit a sock snake, because that takes a lot of time for me still. So I'm keeping 1 sock snake on the machine so I can just continue going, and that saves me a lot of time. But I decided that this year will be a little bit more planning behind my knitting and not just jumping on all the things that I want to do. So I decided to do a Make 9 challenge. And Make 9 is where you plan out 9 projects that you want to make during the year or during whatever time frame you give yourself, and then mark them in a grid. And my grid looks like this. Not exactly a grid, but you get the point. And as you can see in the corner down there, that is my first project that I'm working on, the socks that I have. And you can also see the purple yarn that I was supposed to use but didn't. So I'm still open for changes. I mean, I'm not the best at planning that far ahead, let's be frank about that. But I want to try. And as long as I want to try, and I have some motivation for it at the moment, and I can see the use of all the things that I put into this grid. So I will try my best. Now, I want to show you the things that I have in there and talk a little bit more about them, and then when we get moving along with projects, I will show you more about it. But I actually gathered almost all the yarn into this bag. It's an old Ravelry project bag, and it was when they celebrated 2 million Ravelers, so that is some time ago, and we had Bob as the mascot as well. But you can see it's bursting, so I need to reduce it a little bit. I have 9 projects, 1 on needles, so there's 8 projects in here. And first off is this red skein. I think this will be the second project that I actually cast on, because my son has asked for this. He wants to have fingerless mitts in red yarn because he wants them to look like Iron Man gloves. So somehow I need to find out how to make the jet streams inside his palm so he can have, yeah. He wants red mitts, fingerless mitts. So that will be pretty quick, as long as I can figure out how to do the other things in there. And yeah, he have been waiting for them. I thought I could cram them in before Christmas, but I didn't. So after the socks are done, this will be next on my needles, and that far along I can plan. That's no problem. And then we have the yarn that looks like this, that actually comes with 2 swatches. And I have more green, so this is just what I've used for the swatch. But this will grow up to be a sweater. And since I'm in the mood for something simple, to keep it clean, to make it easy, I'm also wanting to make a sweater that resembles all of that. So this is some sport weight wool from Imperial Yarns. I don't even know if they're in business any longer because it's so old stash. And I have the other yarn. It's not caked up yet, and was not enough room in this bag for that. But that is hopefully the third thing that will go onto my needles, because I've made the swatch and I will start measuring on it, and I will start to make the pattern so that I can knit from my pattern and see that it all fits once I start working on it. So hopefully that will be a test knit in the future, that I'm happy with this, how this will turn out, and that it will be the sweater that I'm dreaming of at the moment, because it's a big thing in my head. So I need to make it work somehow. And I have a lot of green, and I have a little bit of gray and a little bit of orange. At least I think, yeah, it's the same. It's just harder wound, that's why. So I don't know 100% what this will be, if it will be patterned somewhere or if it will be some stripes, or I'm not sure yet. I'm still working on that part, but I really love the green. That will be the main part of the sweater. So that is, let's see, that's the third project of the year. So we have 6 more to go. Then we have this yarn that will grow up to be a brioche cowl for a knitting workshop that I will be in charge of in September. So I'm already planning for this because it takes time when you're working with slow fashion. It takes time to do the things, but that also means that you will love them even more once they're done. So this will grow up to be a brioche cowl. That's also a design project, and I have an idea in my head. I just need to get it out, and then it will be accompanied by how to knit, how to make it easy, what to do, decreases, increases, making patterns, follow charts, everything like that. So if you want the full grown everything about brioche, then you need to check out this workshop that I will be having in September over at SKeW Syd. And the tickets aren't released yet, so you don't have to worry about that. They will come before summer sometime, and I will talk more about this once it's on the needles, off the needles, getting ready, everything. But this is SKeW yarns in the Havsfru. That would be like sea wife, and my gray, which is called Morgan. That's a name, so I don't have any translation for that, but it's a dark charcoaly gray. Hopefully they will work good together, even if the teal and the gray are a little bit the same, but the rest of the yarn will be okay, I think. So that will be a brioche cowl. Then we have some Kalinka from Karin Öberg, and I have more skeins, and I want this to grow up to be a summer top of some kind. It's just that I've knitted with the other skeins, so I need to kink them out, really wash them and hang them to dry. But it's a project that needs a little bit more attention before I can start to plan how I want it to look. But I really want to knit with this, and I really want to wear this summer, so I'm having that goal in my mind. So I'm thinking this will probably be like, okay, we had 1, 2, 3, the 4th project for the year, or from this Make 9. So I had a little bit of plan when I tucked everything into this bag, because I thought that I place the things that I think I want to do first on top, and then we dig down, and it can be a little bit whatever comes at the bottom here. We have some skeins of Blueface Leicester from West Yorkshire Spinners. I have 6 skeins. I wanted to find the last one too. Here it is. And this will be a sweater for my daughter. I'm thinking broad stripes with this yarn. Maybe from the same pattern that I'm making my green sweater. I don't really know yet. Or otherwise it will be a simple raglan with just stripes. I really like these 2 colors together, even if they are both dark. But I'm thinking broad stripes or some color blocks will be just perfect for them. So that is that. And then I found some more old stash. This is Mint Rain yarns in the Outlander colorway, and this is vintage stash since the 1st or 2nd season of Outlander was released. And I haven't gotten around to it, and I don't know why, but now it's in my bag, and hopefully this will grow up to be a pair of socks for me, because I really like these colors. So yeah, coming up. I don't know when. Sorry, I dropped it so the tripod moved. But it will grow up to be socks for me. Then we have second to last project. We have a very big purple skein of yarn, and I added one since my grid. I added some pink. It's actually many skeins in this pink ball of yarn, but I'm thinking to holding them together and making a felted wool jacket for my daughter that she can use like a jacket when it's not raining outside, or underneath the jacket, so that she can feel warm enough. And wool is so much better than polyester fleece, so I want to have this instead of her fleece at preschool. We will see if I manage to get it done before summer. I don't think so, but it will be ready for fall for sure. So felted wool jacket instead of polyester fleece. And I will take you through the process once I get to this project. Then the last thing in this bag is a very old vintage stash again. Yarn from the Swedish dyer Mandusana. And this is, she's just calling it teal. It's a sock yarn that will grow up to be a pair of socks for my husband. She has changed her label, and I don't think she's on Etsy anymore, but she's still called Mandusana, and she still does happy vibrant colors. So that was all of my 9 projects, and I'm feeling excited about all the things that I know that I want to knit, and I have like a vision for all of them. So I'm wishing myself more knitting time at the moment. That is part of the reason that I went to a knitting cafe yesterday. We have the local church arrange a knitting cafe every second Tuesday, and it was my first time yesterday. I brought a big box of yarn that I was already giving away, and it was so nice to see how it just emptied out, because they found yarns that they can make sweaters to send off to kids in need. And I actually feel so good that even if I don't have the time to knit with this yarn and donate, this yarn comes to good use because other people knit with it and donate. And I think it's astonishing what they are doing, and so nice that they want to give their time to knit for other people. I have a family that is very happy that I knit for them, so yeah. I mean, everything that I knit is getting used, and if it's not getting used, I'm donating a lot of things. But it's real nice to see people just stepping up like that and making a lot of baby sweaters or child sweaters and donate them. So that is almost all the knitting, I would say, because I don't think that I have more coming up. There was a lot of pattern talk and a lot of future knitting, and not so much on my needles, but yeah, hopefully I can show progress instead, because the socks won't take that long and the mitts won't take that long, but a sweater might take a little bit longer. We will see. There is a lot of exciting things coming with patterns and stuff, so please subscribe to grab all the notifications about that if you are interested. And yeah, other things that have been happening. Well, it's been Christmas and New Year's. You haven't missed that, I think. We had a nice, slow, both Christmas and New Year's. It was really nice. So on New Year's Eve, my son opted that we shouldn't have fireworks, which I'm really grateful for, because I think they are not good for the environment and they scare a lot of animals, and I think we can do better than that, even if it's oh so nice to see them. Well, yeah, I'm totally for New Year's without fireworks. But he opted that we should put out some torches around our yard and have it lit up by the torches instead. So we had a very cozy evening sitting and looking at those torches. And when midnight came around, we danced the whole family in the living room, and it was very nice. Even if it was a little bit frustrating that our 2.5-year-old still was up and did not want to go to sleep that night. She finally fell asleep like 12:30 a.m. and woke up happy the next day, so that was good. She is all the feelings at the moment. We had a mental breakdown over putting on a sweater this morning, and I'm still feeling the stress from that, and I don't really know how to deal with it. But I guess that's a different challenge as a parent that I haven't had before, because the 9-year-old never done like that. You haven't been that strong-willed that she is. Let's just put it like that. It's very different. So we're feeling all the emotions at the moment, and that is taking a lot of time to handle, really. And then yesterday, this 9-year-old and me finally got around to clean out our greenhouse. I don't know, it's been a rough fall, so we finally got around to it, and now it's clean and nice and ready for new plants in the spring. We even talked about putting in a box at the moment, and saw some spinach or some other green leaves to see if we can harvest something from the greenhouse, even if it's supposed to be winter. It's rainy and like 3 degrees Celsius or 5 degrees Celsius. So there's a chance things will sprout, but I don't know. It's an experiment, and it will be real nice to follow along with that. At the moment, we just cleaned the greenhouse, so I have nothing to show you. And I have worked on some sprouts inside. So I put seeds in the jar and made some homemade sprouts, and that is also something that is really appreciated by the family when we get something that fresh that we actually can grow inside in a jar, just sitting by the sink, and all I do is rinse it 2 times a day, and by day 4 or 5 we have some good looking sprouts that we can eat. So during this winter, I've been digging into these small things that will not be that huge time investment, but will still bring this wholesome feel for the family. I've been baking bread, I've been making sprouts, I've been thinking about how I can grow some green leaves inside as well, so we can have them a little bit faster than the ones growing outside. I've been striving for this simpler. As you saw with my swatches for my sweater, I want simpler, I want easier. It's not so complicated all the time. Just to dial it down and to realize that we have a lot of things going on around us, and then not to put that much more pressure on what we're supposed to do. But I also noticed that one of the main things that I'm working on at the moment is to not say I don't know. Because every time I feel like I'm saying I don't know, I'm just shutting the door to my mind. Because when I say I don't know, someone else needs to know. It's not my responsibility anymore because I already decided I don't know. So I'm working really hard on this, and I put in like this mental triggers every time I say I don't know. So it needs to back down immediately and say, how can I rephrase that so I can open my mind instead to find the solution for it? Because I really think that in most cases we have the solution, or at least we know who to ask or where to find the solution. Maybe we don't know the answer immediately, but just to rephrase it, to say, how can I find this solution, is a big step to take. And with that words, I will leave you all off to have a marvelous day. Happy knitting. Bye.